What are we even talking about today?
Let's start with the Twitch thing.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, that's your baby. So you wanna? Well, first off, hey everyone, welcome to episode. Oh crap, wrong number. Welcome to episode 6 of the Leftovers. Or
Wait, we count that high?
Well, we do now. Hey, at least we're not Valve, okay?
Yes.
1, 2, 2.5.
Precursor game.
Actually, not even.
Interim game.
Spin-off.
Time to change franchises. Playing cards.
VR.
So.
Alright, anyway, so pretty much we got Twitch got hacked. You were just telling me this just before we went live, so it's not in the thumbnail or anything because I only found out a second ago.
Some kind, not necessarily a hack, but big old data breach. Apparently, 120 gigs worth of data was. It
was 125 according to the article you sent me.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Either way, change your fucking passwords, activate two-factor authentication, check all the accounts that you had connected to Twitch, because those could have been affected potentially.
So like any of the any Twitch subsidiaries, which I believe are what were the names of them? IGDB and CurseForge. So change your password for that too.
Well, I mean, it's the same account login nowadays.
Oh, is it?
For CurseForge, you log in with your Twitch account.
I don't have either. So
it's not like a separate connected account. It's just your Twitch account.
Gotcha.
But yeah, change your damn passwords. Realistically, you should be changing your password. Well, realistically, you should be changing your password often. I'll leave what often means up to debate, but change your passwords probably at least once a year here.
At least.
Know it's annoying as fuck. It's stupid. I fully agree. However, you don't want people accessing your shit, and especially if there's two-factor authentication of any kind on any accounts you have, turn it on. That's only going to make you more secure. That being said, make sure also with two-factor authentication stuff, because most of that goes through like your cell phone, either an app on there, or there's some kind of a backup code you can do. Make sure you have a way to access those backup codes that's not your cell phone. Because, okay, hey, if there's a data breach, oh, I'm safe, I have two-factor authentication. Hey, I just lost my cell phone. Fuck, I no longer have my two-factor authentication. I am now locked out of my accounts.
Personally, I would say go old school and just write them down on a piece of paper or something.
Even that, honestly, if you're going to write down anything on a sheet of paper that's going to provide you access to something, it's far better to write hints. So in other words, if someone were to break into your house or apartment or something and look at the piece of paper that you have this stuff written on, ideally you want to make it so that if you do have notes to yourself of, oh, hey, here's like my password for this or my access for that or whatever else, you want to make it so if someone breaks into your house and they look at that paper, they still do not know how to get in.
Yes, but I wasn't saying what the code is for. Just write the code itself on a piece of paper.
Oh, still.
Yeah, but how is that thief going to know what it's for?
No, they aren't. But how are you going to know what it's for when you find it in 5 years? Especially when it's mixed in with all the other codes from all the other accounts you use.
That's a problem in of itself. But yeah, this the anonymous hacker claims to have leaked the entirety, and the claims have been confirmed by Twitch. Twitch has authenticated the data breach, saying, "We confirmed the breach. A breach has taken place. Our teams are working with urgency to understand the extent of this. We will update the community as soon as additional information is available. Thank you for being with us."
In other words, they're shitting bricks and working to patch the hole.
And here's the thing: the hacker himself or herself, anonymous hacker, stated the leak was intended to foster more disruption and competition in the online video streaming space because their community is a disgusting, toxic cesspool.
hey, their community, I love that. Hey, their community sucks. So I'm going to go and leak all this private information from people because you are bad people, and it's okay to do bad stuff to bad people, right? I mean, arguably, what you're doing is far worse
Uh,
than most toxicity you would see even in Twitch stream chats, which admittedly can get pretty brutal at times, but still.
I mean, Twitch. In other news, Twitch has been having a lot of hate raids going on lately, and they've been cracking down because what people do is they're creating new accounts, and then they'll create like dozens upon dozens of new accounts and just do hate raids and bots that are doing like hate raid stuff, swearing and slurs and whatever in chat, insulting people, whatever it is. And Twitch has finally put a fix out for this by making it that you need to connect your phone to Twitch in order to use chat. So essentially a version of two-step authentication.
Yep.
Like you need to confirm that it's you
whenever
you enter a chat. Your phone.
Pass, but
my first thought when I heard that was like, the people creating these accounts also have a phone, no doubt.
Well, one thing I would do is at minimum make it so that, and I don't know, this could already be the case, but I would hope that they would make it so that only one phone number can be registered to one account.
Right.
And even if you were to go and try to use that phone number again, it should go and give some kind of an error or something like that. And then also too, when you connect that phone number, it should be like hey, we're gonna go and send a code to the phone. Please enter that code, just to make sure that people can't just go and start putting in random phone numbers and go, I'm connected now, because you have some random number. Something like that. I would hope that's how they would make it. I don't know. But either way, it's definitely good that they're doing something about it. Whether or not it'll be enough, well, is it ever really? But security is always playing a game of catch up because you're trying to get ahead of the bad actors, and by definition, you have to play a reactive game.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones engaging.
Let's see, on the same day. And here's some of the data leaks, screenshots of it. But last month, a group of Twitch streamers. Last week, a group of Twitch streamers called on the other channels and viewers to boycott the site for 24 hours. We covered this a little bit. That was part of the hate raid thing. As a response to hate raids, on the same day as the campaign was initially announced, Twitch posted a thread on Twitter explaining that it was attempting to stop hate raids, but that it was not a simple fix. No one should have to experience malicious and hateful attacks based on who they are or what they stand for, it stated. This is not the community we want on Twitch, and we want you to know we are working hard to make Twitch a safer place for creators. Hate spam attacks are the result of highly motivated bad actors and do not have a simple fix. Your reports have helped us take action. We've been continually updating our website, our site-wide hand words filters to help prevent variations of hateful slurs and removing bots when identified. We've been building channel-level ban evasion detection count improvements to combat this malicious behavior for months. However, as we work on solutions, bad actors work in parallel to find ways around them, which is why we can't always share details.
Yeah, honestly, that's a very realistic response. There's a lot of people who think, oh, you just push the button and the thing happens, right? And no, you have to figure out how are they doing it. I mean, for example, hey, how do you prevent 24 people joining a channel at once, and then you have you have your botnet of computers set to type out one message in the channel every 5 seconds or whatever the time frame is. So by the time it loops around, hey, I'm able to go and have the first computer type a message again, and it just keeps spamming. How do you stop that? Okay, well, I need some way to go and see how many people are typing at once and try to figure out if they're just spamming the same message. If you send out the same message 3 times in a row, maybe you get a temporary mute. It's like, how do you work around this? It's not fucking easy.
No, but again, I will say this though, that we're pointing out both positives and negatives, looking at this objectively, and Twitch does have a lot of problems especially regarding like copyright stuff and accounts and just videos and stuff on Twitch have been wrongfully taken down or like copyright struck or whatever because of this. Like pretty much anything that has music essentially is bad on Twitch. Which is
CIG put out a statement saying, hey, by the way, during these times we're going to be playing some like community made stuff which is going to have potentially non open source music. So please, during those times, if you are streaming, please go and turn off your audio just to give people a heads up. And I'm like, hey, one, it's kind of cool that they're letting us know to forewarn us. Two, the fact that they have to forewarn us, otherwise some of these companies just ban, not necessarily ban, but
and we've had experience with YouTube doing this to our channel. We got a copyright strike in December of last year for what would it was what, like maybe the opening credits of Die Hard 2?
Something like that.
For the Die Hard 2 live stream when we edited the footage of the movie so that we can do a live stream and have people watch along with us. Totally backfired. But yeah, also apparently the hack showed off. Well, not only can it show off your password, which is why you should change your password, though you should be changing it on a at least annual basis, anyways. It also showed off a code, a Unity code for a game called Vape World. Which appears to be a chat software based on Amazon's unreleased Steam competitor Vapor. Vapor itself is an alleged in-development Steam competitor, which is claimed to integrate many of Twitch's features into a bespoke game store, like Steam or Epic Games, Ubisoft's whatever Play thing. Uplay. But yeah, also it also leaked allegedly how the popular streamers, how much they earn, which apparently it's within millions, just from working on the platform of Twitch. You can actually see how much they've earned here. Some of them are earning hundreds of thousands of dollars. It says here that the list shows 81 Twitch streamers that have been paid more than $1 million by Twitch since August of 2019. What am I doing wrong?
Everything. You know what it is? First off, you don't have boobs. Second
yes,
off,
or an ass.
Yeah, there you go. So that's step number one.
And I say that because this way I can't get up and bend down. I made that joke the other in a remember the. Never mind.
I try not to remember things. Yeah. It hurts.
But yeah, look at this. $3 million. This is insane. No, I want you the image.
Life is insane.
Give me the image.
You get nothing.
Alright, it's a little fuzzy, but wow. This is insane. Holy shit. You want to know how much Critical Role makes?
Too much and not enough.
Almost $10 million.
I'm not surprised.
Cue the Dr. Evil music. Do, 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 do. God. 10 million.
God,
what do you What? That's a lot of money. I've heard some of these names in passing, but honestly, the only people I watch on Twitch are the people I have as recommended by Twitch, and even then, I don't watch all of them. At least I haven't I haven't even been on my own. Thinking of reworking how I'm going to do that. Crap. Boy, would I like to make this kind of money. Just from playing games and streaming it. But yeah, Twitch, not so good. Yeah, the leaks follow Twitch's efforts to tighten up safety on the platform by adding phone verification to chat and more granular email security options. The features were added to combat the site's ongoing issues. Yeah, that's the fix they did for that. But I don't know what the hell they're gonna do to fix this because the information's already out there. No. You can't take it back. But hopefully they beef up security so that this can't happen again. Because this is harmful. I want to say that there is some good that's going to come from this. It's forcing Twitch to kind of rethink and reevaluate their security. But it does come at the cost of users of Twitch.
Yep.
Because now a lot of them are at risk. Now we know how much money some of these streamers are making. I'm sure I'm probably listed there somewhere, and you can see how much money I'm not making. I bet it's going to say like minus $100,000 or something.
Well, one thing too, like I was chatting with someone earlier today on the same topic here, and they were like, "Hey, this person's making 100K or something. How come they're still asking for people to subscribe and stuff?" And it's like, because that's literally why they're on the platform. It's like if you have a company, and that company
at that point they're not
whatever.
They're not just streamers. Well, they're effectively employees of Twitch.
I mean, pretty much. But irregardless, it's like if I'm a company and I make a product, whatever the product might be, or I provide a service, whatever. And it doesn't matter if I'm making $10 a year, 100, 1,000, a couple 100,000, a million, 100 million, billion, whatever the fuck. It doesn't matter how much I'm making or not. I want more business. Because the more I have business, now you might have some companies that are like, yeah, okay, I want to kind of keep us at about the size we are with the same amount of of the services we're currently providing. We want to stay around that number. Sure, but most businesses are like, hey, if I can grow, we want to. That's literally what this is. It's a business with the streamers essentially being almost in a way, kind of, sort of, yes, no, employees of Twitch. Their job being to bring views, which brings views onto Twitch's.
At least I'd say the more like the partners and the more higher tier money making ones, because I don't see myself as honestly, I monetize now, but
I would see it almost as like a sales position, of where the streamers are sales employees getting paid on commission, essentially based on the number of people they have following them, who are buying the product that they are putting out there. I say buying, but still, watching, whatever. But like I said, it's just, this is quite literally the business model and quite literally the point. Like I said, now don't get me wrong, plenty of people do go and stream just because they're like, hey, I enjoy doing whatever.
Right.
And I think other people would enjoy me also doing whatever and narrating over to whatever else they're doing.
That's how I started.
And that, and that's perfectly fine. But at the same point, if we had 1 million followers here, we'd still be going, hey, make sure you go and hit that like and subscribe button, just the same as you would if you have 5 followers and one of them's your mom. Whatever. So I just wanted to know, it's like, just because it's like, oh, and bear in mind too, that's what Twitch has there. We don't know how that number is used or how it
I think they take 30%, same as YouTube.
I mean, we don't know. We truly do not know. So just because you see a number there, that doesn't mean that, oh, so-and-so is walking around with such and such amount of money in their pocket. Not even close, very likely.
Well, first off, you don't know what they're doing with that money, but also the fact that, again, it could be that's the money that they make, and then whatever and 30% of that goes to Twitch, or that's the money they make after the 30% has been deducted. We don't know the specifics and details of that.
And it could also be, hey, this is what that account makes before taxes are applied and all that kind of stuff. There could be so many factors that apply to this. All I'm saying is you're gonna have some people who are they're gonna go and see, oh, such and such username, such and such dollar amount, they've got this much money. No, they don't. Not even close, very likely. First of all, and we don't know, is this all what they've earned all time? Is it from a single year? Again, don't know. But all I'm really saying is, don't jump to conclusions just because some people, they'll see a dollar sign and they lose their fucking mind. And it's like, just because you see a dollar sign doesn't mean you know everything that's going on here.
I mean, look, I'm whatever. At this point, I'm kind of just like, I just. I joked around when you first told me this. I'm like, I joked around saying, well, I guess you got to fight fire with fire, just because Twitch is not exactly moral and out of corruption and all that.
Realistically, companies are only moral if it makes them money.
Right.
If it makes them money to appear to be moral and ethical, they'll put out things showing them, planning. They'll go and throw a couple employees on an airplane somewhere and make a film showing them planting trees. If it's going to make them money showing those same employees going and kicking puppies, they're going to go and find a couple of employees who will agree to kick puppies on camera, and they're going to go kick puppies. Just realistically, if it makes them money, and I do say, generally speaking, now that's not to say companies won't do stuff that short term might lose them money or not bring in money, but long term is going to go, they think at least, will be a benefit to them. That definitely happens, and bearing in mind that people running companies or divisions of companies are still human. They make mistakes. They are not omnipotent. There is not some singular entity sitting in a chair surrounded by thousands of computer monitors called Twitch. It's a conglomeration of humans, all of them at a job, most of them who couldn't really care less other than their 9-to-5 grind.
Also, the fact that a lot of Twitch is run by AI. Same with YouTube.
I knew it. They're taking over. But
I mean, they kind of already have.
AIs and test the algorithms and all that kind of shit. Anyway, long story short, the actual thought about it, Twitch will go and change up their security policies a bit more, and realistically, like the fallout on the users.
Oh, you're echoing, dude.
Who try to look up someone's name in the list or try to get some dirt on someone, thinking they might find something, whatever. The actual fallout, change your fucking passwords, people. It's pretty much it. And turn on two-factor authentication.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
And also, the reason why I bring up Twitch is, as people can see on the screen right now, last year, we talked about this already, I just want to cover it briefly. Last year, Twitch staff called a company out on sexual assault, racism, and more. Because, as we talked about when we did the Activision Blizzard stuff, which, again, we're going to talk about that next week. Activision Blizzard update.
Oh boy.
Major update.
Also,
a specific episode, but essentially it's
next week.
they've done the same kind of harassment bullshit as Ubisoft, as Activision Blizzard, as Riot Games, as even I think Bungie did something at one point too. Like all these companies do it.
At some point, well, I mean, also too.
The only thing that will happen is more companies are going to be called out on it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because, rightfully so, and rightfully so.
You might have, with some of these companies now that shit has been brought to light, I would suspect that at least for some of them, it will get better, at least to a certain degree, meaning the condition and experience of the workers working there, that there will be less amounts of abuse in the workplace and that kind of shit. But that being said, as we're clearly seeing here, this shit's been going on for a while. It's been going on pretty much unchallenged for a while. Therefore, the leadership of the company, because also too, especially if it's like, okay, hey, you had like 4 or 5 people involved. Okay, at that point, you have essentially like one.
When it's normalized in the company, that's the problem.
Yeah, but when it's something the size of that we're seeing at Blizzard here and going on for, it sounds like over a decade.
Oh yeah.
or at least close to it. I mean, at that point, that means then that the leadership would have known about it and turned a blind eye to it and just gone, we don't care. Or, well, we'll just go and have some plausible deniability here and just pretend we don't see anything. But they would have known. There would have been people talking. I mean, like I said, especially when it gets so bad to the point where you have employees committing suicide over how they're being treated in the workplace, instead of someone just going, well, hey, I'm just going to go and quit my job. I mean, the leadership would have known. So at that point, you need to go and get different leadership for there to be a change.
You need to clean
Now,
house in
how
terms of who's running the
widespread
company
that
altogether.
change needs to be, I don't know. But at the very least, you need some leadership changing there. Until that happens, you're just going to have the same shit. Or at best, you would have the same people in charge who are just kind of laying low until it all blows over, and then they'll be doing the same shit again.
Which is pretty much what's kind of going on. A lot of people have left though, but again, we're gonna talk more about that. Hopefully, Kulios will be able to join us because he's knowledgeable in this topic as well. But moving on from Twitch, we do have other topics.
We do?
Yeah, I found some stuff.
Yeah, impossible.
Oh, totally possible. Oh, nothing's impossible. The implausible. We got Epic versus Apple stuff or China stuff. Either way, they both involve China, so at least let's go. Okay, so China has new sanctions and restrictions and everything regarding video games lately. It's been a total just yikes. Pretty much, if you live in China and you love playing video games, I feel really bad for you right now.
If you live in China, I feel bad for you.
Yeah, that too. Because China, especially right now, is cracking down on video games in terms of what gets approved to be a video game in China, like what gets approved to go into China, what video games can have or not.
You ain't fucking playing it.
Yeah, I mean, look, for years, China's always been like, you always look at the Chinese version of the video game, and it's drastically different than the, say, American or even like the UK version.
Yep.
Which is pretty much the same thing. And like I remember a few years ago hearing that in China they don't allow skeletons, they don't allow ghosts or zombies, they do not allow blood of any color, and they don't allow what else did I listed it here? Sorry, and death itself. Like they won't have death animation, so they're not allowed to be in video games in China.
Any kind of FPS game, any kind of like RPG game,
any type of fantasy game, because every fantasy game has skeletons.
Well, MMOs are apparently A-okay, because those are pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, I know. I assume League of Legends is probably popular because that's Riot Games.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because we know Blizzard was hand in hand with them.
Oh yeah, with the whole Blitzchung thing.
Hell yeah. Oh, that reminds me. I need to find I found a picture here that I liked. Let me see if I can find it again.
But yeah, strict restrictions for games. Pretty much, they're setting the bar for what they can do and what games can't do. And Beijing is zeroing in on money worship and unsavory content such as effeminacy. Okay. I'm butchering English language, but I do that all the time whenever I open my mouth.
Is it feminism? Like guys acting like girls, or is that what you mean?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, effeminate. Yeah, it's less than effeminate. Essentially anything that has effeminate men.
Of course, you'll have stuff like JoJo will pass by no problem, but.
Well, I think it's more like, you look at, like, one of the images they cited was, it was an image of a guy with pink hair, but, like, when I say guy, I'm talking, like, the body of Arnold Schwarzenegger and, like, the chin of, like, the cleft chin.
Like JoJo. Okay, so we're talking like JoJo characters, or like Goku if you gave him pink hair.
Something like that, yeah.
Or some shit.
It's like, you have this super ripped, like, freaking surfer dude.
We aren't talking that one character from the fucking anime. I always forget what the fuck their name is. There's also Mando. If you want to look in the chat here,
Yeah.
I posted a nice picture there.
Yeah, and this is the thing. This is pretty much yeah. Hey, let's put it on the stream for everyone else to see.
And we're
oh my god! Right, YouTube would shut us down. You know what though? I have a thumbnail for. Remember after we got that copyright strike, I did a 40-minute rant on how YouTube is just pointing out YouTube's hypocrisy and their communistic behavior. And on the thumbnail, I literally have the Chinese flag on the over the YouTube symbol, as well as the Soviet Union flag over the YouTube symbol. So, and that video's still up. I guess the perks of living up to our name. But yeah, pretty much they're zeroing and everything. You know, if you have effeminate women, nope, not good enough. I mean, this doesn't surprise me. I mean, we've talked about on this channel how horrible Chinese censorship is. Of course, the reasoning for it all is probably the worst. You know, they're restricting games because they don't want
ideas.
Yeah, they don't want other ideas. They don't want to see any ideology that conflicts with their own or anything that conflicts with their culture. Right? The CCP wants full control over their people because I guess they want to be blissfully ignorant.
Well, I mean, part of the problem is the same kind of reasons that you see North Korea keeping any kind of communication, especially technology, out of the hands of your average North Korean citizen, because, well, hey, if people start seeing other parts of the world, if they start seeing other ideas here, and we can't go and remove those people individually, especially if they were like abroad or anything like that, then, hey, if they're at home here causing dissension, that could cause, if that caught on, a violent upheaval of us, the people in power, the people running and controlling things. And we can't have that now. So, same shit, different day.
Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty much going to be slowing down the approvals because they're more strict now. And this follows Tencent and NetEase executives being summoned by the country's regulators on Wednesday, as reported by Bloomberg. We literally just looked at the article right here. And some of the keynotes, essentially, the things to take away from that meeting were here. The gaming companies were asked to profoundly understand the importance and urgency of preventing minors from online gaming addiction, which is like such a common thing that China uses as their excuse, gaming addiction. They were urged to implement rules aimed at boosting youth development. The companies were asked to fully and faithfully impose the time limit on underage gamers, and banned from providing online games account trading services for minors. By the way, we'll get into this later, but they have limited it, I think, to an hour a day, or 3 hours a week, and then an hour a day for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for minors. And you have to sign in with your real name. And as we covered a few months ago, Tencent released this facial recognition software to see if it's a minor playing or not. Boy, does it suck to be in China.
Yeah.
Or I should say, boy, would it suck, because I'm not. Man, where's my Liberty Prime poster?
What if you are and you just don't realize it?
I mean, given things how things are in the U.S. and specifically New York City right now, I can't. Anyway, let's see. They were also ordered to step up examination of games as content, including removing obscene and violent content, and avoid money worship and effeminacy. Fuck, I can't speak.
Ethnicity?
No. Like effective. Okay, here.
Efficacy? Donuts?
The group chat. The companies were asked to end the solitary focus.
Effeminacy.
To focus on pursuing profit or attracting fans of other erroneous tendencies and change game rules and decisions, including inducing addictions. Sorry, I cannot speak today. And they were supposed to restrict celebrity endorsements and everything. So pretty much, it's stop being American with your capitalistic ideas, you swine, and start
this idea of doing things you like in exchange for money, and whoa, we tell you what you'll like.
Are we defending fucking Tencent? What the fuck? Screw those companies. They're doing more harm than good here in the States, at least, but...
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, though, if the Chinese government wanted Tencent to be doing something, Tencent would be doing it wholeheartedly.
Oh, they are a corporate extension of the CCP. It's just that they don't always... Like, the CCP kind of has to rein them in from time to time. You know, kind of like a dog.
I mean, you might as well just see Tencent as being a committee that's run by the CCP. Sure, they might not be in daily communication with them, but they're definitely marching in step.
Yeah, it's pretty much like, you know, the investors of the CCP are the CCP of Tencent are the CCP. The other way, about to say the other way around.
Well, it's like, you know, you have some
party like they're the board of directors, right?
Yeah, you have some party member go and pick up a phone. They call up so and so at Tencent and say, "Hey, buddy, bro, hey, yeah, you're gonna do this."
And then they do it. It's no questions asked. Yeah.
There's no questions asked. There's no.
But we're seeing it right now with this.
It's yes, sir. We'll get that done immediately. We'll even add in this for you too, just because I like you.
Wow.
Please don't kill my family.
The stricters can be very specific. Regulators are cracking down on increasingly popular zombie-themed games because they're too scary. Yeah, because they, I don't know, introduce new ideas. I can't even say they introduced new ideas. That one's just nonsense. By NPP standards, one of the people said another... Okay. One of the people said another person... One of the people said, sorry. Let's see, blah, blah, blah. Tight scrutiny over regulators. Roommate just sneezed. Boys love... Okay. But anyway, it sucks. This isn't... fun. But yeah, yeah. Let's see. Following the two companies being summoned, Tencent and NetEase, their respective stocks dipped, losing a combined value of $60 billion. However, Bloomberg said that both companies recovered some of their losses. Tencent stock ended up being 2.8% down, NetEase 2%.
Yeah, when you're a corporation backed by a government, you never have to fear about doing things that the
not just that, but
because they're not the customer.
It's not just that, but it's also the fact that, you know, these games, like, even if they lost $60 million, they rake in twice that. You know, like they rake in like $60 billion, twice a year or whatever, or probably not twice a year, but they probably rake in over billions of dollars annually from all their microtransaction bullshit and everything like that. Tehilm29 is in the chat saying, "Good to see you, Casting the Shadows. Good to see you, Tehilm."
Wait, you can see us? My God.
We're not shadow enough. Quick, hide.
Turn up the lights. We need more shadows.
There, we're hidden. But yeah, total real loss there. And this is coming after last week, right? No, not last week. Last month, we got the restrictions on minors playing video games during the week. Again, an hour a game a day from Friday to Sunday, but even worse during the week. And it totally sucks.
Yep.
And if you think that's bad, China is now turning their players, the gamers, into rats.
Kinky.
Well, not that way. Like into snitches, into tattletales. They're trying to essentially. They have a website now for gamers to essentially tattle and blow the horn on games that don't abide by Chinese regulations.
Which makes sense. Hey, if they really wanted to get stuff going, they would offer a bounty on it. That, oh hey, if you tell us, we'll give you an extra half hour of game time.
And let's see, the website requires Chinese ID and mobile phone number to make a report, with incidents grouped under 3 categories: whether an online game is complying with the requirements for real name registration by all users, whether an online game has implemented the new time limits for players under 18, which is again 1 hour for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then I think it's an hour just for the entirety of the week. It is Monday through Thursday. Oh, it prohibits anyone under 18 from playing entirely Monday through Thursday. So they can only play 1 hour a day, essentially, for Friday through Saturday. And it can only be between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m.
Well, also too, one big thing too, and this would be another reason why I could see them cracking down on this, because again, as we've seen, the Chinese government definitely likes having a information vacuum and information lockdown on what people can go and access, and video games are, because it's like, oh hey, for example, oh you want to log into Discord, you want to log into Twitch, you want to log into whatever else. If it's going to a website, they can put in some pretty easy restrictions just based on it being a website.
Right.
Whereas if I'm playing a video game, hey, I've got text, I've got voice comms. I have ways of communicating with people that are much, much harder than just something going to a website to go and control and even monitor. Not to say it can't be done, but it is a lot harder. I mean, there's even a Minecraft project that it's literally just a server anyone can go and join into, and it literally just has books that were filled with actual real book information and documents and Wikipedia articles and stuff, so that people who live in countries that would otherwise be blocked from accessing this kind of information can go there, and because the video game isn't blocked, they can go and access this information, because it's a lot harder to go and block this stuff going to the video game than it is through just a website portal there. So hey, we got to crack down on these video games. They're letting people slip through and they're starting to get ideas, and we can't have that.
Nope. It's essentially anything that. It's kind of the same problem that we have here in the West, here in the States, with all the woke, politically correct bullshit with the, pardon my French, with the, like, oh, if you say anything so much that disagrees with my opinion, you're wrong, and therefore you must be canceled, and you're essentially, which is a nicer way of saying we're going to ruin your entire life and your reputation with everyone in the world.
Well, like I saw too, like I oftentimes go on some subreddits there where like all kinds of short stories and stuff, like science fiction short stories are posted, and I found this one, and it was pretty much from the top of it going like, oh, we found this other dimension, and it's filled with space fascists. Oh, we gotta fight the space fascists, and it just keeps on shoving this idea down people's throats, and it's just like. Like, sure, what they're doing is bad, but at the same point, like these continued rallying cries. It's like, if you're trying to tell a story, and that's great. However, at this point, it's leading more and more toward a political rant than any kind of an actual story.
Honestly,
here.
the story was
And
probably
people called out the author, going, "Hey, by the way, this seems like it's getting a bit forced here. You know, what's going on?"
I'm sure it's literally.
And the author went and just ranted at the person,
Oh.
and I'm just going, what the fuck?
I was gonna say I figured this was kind of just like his way of like he wants to rant but he's afraid because understandably so,
But
because
I mean,
if
you want to rant, that's perfectly fine. If you want to write stories and write about whatever you want, that's perfectly fine.
what I was gonna say is like he probably wanted to just
pretend to do one thing, but you're actually doing another, and someone
that's the problem. You know, he probably wanted to. I'm just assuming here, and you know what happens when you assume.
I don't know.
But like maybe he just wanted to rant and just didn't have a place to. But yeah, that was not the place, and he shouldn't have. You don't just lose your head off at someone.
Well, I mean, and I've seen all kinds of. I've been on the internet for half a minute. I've seen all kinds of stories on practically any topic you could want to read about. And there's both good and bad and utterly garbage level stories people can write, because people have all kinds of different writing skills. But it's like, if you want to write about something, just write about it. And it doesn't matter what other people say, just write about it.
Well, that's the thing is nowadays you say the wrong thing on the internet, you can be canceled and destroyed essentially.
Well, yeah, but
that's I think the fear.
Constructive criticism is going, hey, by the way, I like what you're writing here. Just this feels out of sync with the rest of what you're writing here, and you go and attack people for it. It's like,
no, because then you're no better if you do that.
What you're showing is that you are not a mature enough person, and and some people take all criticism as negative, as a personal attack, and it's like that's, saying, hey, by the way, you made some mistakes here, you had some spelling mistakes here, this paragraph didn't really make sense, you might want to move this over here. That's all stuff essentially. If you ever write professionally, that's what an editor does for you. They go, because it is a outside perspective. Hey, I am approaching your writing fresh here. This is what I am getting from it. If you want more people to enjoy your writing and for it to make sense for them, try these changes, and we'll see after that if it flows better and that kind of stuff. That's literally the job of an editor. You have people doing it for you for free.
Yeah, and I've been doing that with some of my writing stuff because I want it to be good, and it's not even just a matter of people liking it. I don't care about that. I just want I just want it to be quality over that. And also, what you were saying, like when he's attacking other people because they
realize, and like I said, some people will see all criticism, constructive criticism included, as being, oh, you're just attacking me or whatever else. And honestly, everyone's immature at some point. Everyone's learning at some point. Maybe they'll grow out of it. Maybe they won't.
It's not even just everyone's learning. We're all always learning. But what I'm saying is that if you're attacking someone ever because they so much as even if someone says, "Oh, your stuff is shit," whatever, and you for some reason decide to engage in them,
cool. Thanks for
you say it in a calm manner. You don't attack them back, and that's because that's the exact same problem we have with the current entertainment industry and how you say so much as like, for instance, what happened with the Hellboy 2019 movie. And,
yeah, exactly.
And people didn't like the film, so then David Harbour, the main actor who played Hellboy, is like, hey, you're started calling the fans names and this and that for not liking his film, essentially attacking the customers for not liking what was objectively a bad film.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like, I really don't get that in the entertainment industry as a whole. It's like, look, when you make a product, you are developing something for other people to consume. If I am a cook and I make a meal and I send it out to, okay, hey, the special of the day is chicken pot pie, and I send this chicken pot pie that I and my team have made to 20 tables, and 18 of those tables come back and say, hey, this was absolute fucking garbage, I can't go out there and go, well, you just can't appreciate the flavors of it, and you're all stupid, and that's not really gonna, you can say that, sure, but you're gonna look pretty fucking stupid for it. It's like, you aren't, if That's your opinion of it. If you go and eat the chicken pot pie and you say, well, I think this is great, cool, that's great, glad you enjoyed it. However, when you are making this for other people, and it'd be one thing too, if you make chicken pot pie at home and someone else kicks in your front door and goes, hey, your chicken pot pie sucks, and you go, cool, well, it wasn't for you. You weren't invited to this at all. I'm making this just for me. Go fuck yourself. But when you're literally making it for other people to consume, you can't go and say, well, the fact that you have an opinion that disagrees with mine is wrong and get fucked. Like that's really not how this works. You made a product. You can't decide how other people will enjoy that product or not. You can't determine their mentality of it.
No, the best you can do is essentially, and honestly, at least this is my personal feelings on the matter, and that is, if you're gonna make something, all you can do is just do the best you can. Put the most effort you can into it and care, and just kind of let the quality speak for itself. Right? Let it speak for itself. Yeah. If it's bad or if people don't like it, then yeah, it's gonna be upsetting. It's gonna be annoying, but you gotta tank through it and kind of like learn from it and make sure the next one's better.
Or rant and yell and scream and just say everyone else.
Oh, that's what friends are for. You rant and yell at them to get it out of your system, and then you do everything I just said.
But I mean, it's the same. It's the same shit that people pulled with the the recent Ghostbusters movie, where it's like, oh,
Cam, you can literally insert film from the last 7 years here. It doesn't matter which. Ghostbusters. It could be Hellboy. It can be pretty much any of the most recent Disney films. Both Disney original IP stuff or Disney acquired IP stuff, a la Marvel, Star Wars, what have you.
You know what would be hilarious? I think it would be funny if you had a video like a movie like that was developed, and people come out and they're like, "Wow, this is hot garbage, man. This doesn't make any sense in the franchise it was set and all this stuff." And it'd be funny if this like the director or the creative director or whatever came out and said, "Hey, I literally just used this project to write the movie that I wanted to see. This was literally just made for me. Sorry if y'all didn't like it. I fucking love it. Peace out." I'd be like, hey, at least they have the balls.
That would be.
It'd be hilarious.
It would be more. It would be better than what we've got, but it's still they're still denying.
Well, if you don't.
I mean, it just shows that they have no taste, but also because my problem also that there's an inability to accept.
People like action.
Right.
What one person likes. It's like, for example, if you wanted to make a Star Wars movie, but you were writing it as a horror movie, like. It would be a little bit weird at minimum. Now, I will say, with the advent of the TV series and stuff, you definitely had a few episodes here and there that kind of delved into almost any genre, whether it be romance or action or horror or whatever else. You could kind of just have different episodes take different themes like that. But even still, for a lot of franchises, it's like it just doesn't really work out too well when you deviate completely off from what the original genre was. But also, the problem is also that they have no ability to accept accountability. It's like if you made a bad product, it's not like they're lashing out at the fans because it's the fans' fault they didn't like it, as opposed to it wasn't good. Like they don't own up to anything they do. But anyway, we went way off topic. China video games. Was the topic. They're also this is the only positive here. They can't accept criticism either. Yeah, no, that's the whole point, is because all this stuff is rooted in the same narrow-minded ideology. But China, the only good thing that's coming from this is whether an online game has taken steps to prevent teenagers from spending too much on an in-game transactions, which is again part of this snitch website. I'm calling it the snitch website, but one of the restrictions is how much underage players can spend in game, which is a good thing because Well, how are you going to differentiate though between a underage player spending
I
money
don't know.
and a adult
I
player
assume they
spending
have
money?
their ways. We're talking about China here, after all. You
Well,
know.
still, hey, in this video game, you have to go and input your age, and you can't change
Well,
it
they
after
have to
you
sign in with their
put it
real
in.
name, their Chinese, their ID, essentially,
Well,
and
that too.
so it's like if they have to do that just to play the game, I'm sure there are systems that can easily monitor and prevent them from doing other things in the game. But my thing is that this,
They go to Google, they type in boobs, and it just goes, "You're not old enough." It just puts like a filter on it.
or it just says you,
Yeah,
you are a boob.
I'm a bird with blue feet. My God,
No, those are the blue-footed boobies.
exactly.
No, but I think just one of them is still a boobie, isn't it?
Either way,
I don't know I don't know what the terminology is.
I
Like
I
it's
call
like
them boobs as an
iceberg. I
affectionate
know it's
nickname.
like it's like Idris. Is it Idris? Idri? How do you say multiple Idris? Idrises?
Depends how
Igloo? Igli?
pedantic I'm
Igloos?
feeling that day.
Yeah.
Idris
Idris Elbas? I don't know. But yeah, the whole this whole thing, all the regulations that limit essentially player playtime, money spending, what you can play, all this sort of shit. It's obviously all bad, no matter how you look at it. The only positive is the money spending limitations, and it may have some long term gains for us in the States because it might mean that eventually they're not making enough money because Riot Game, pretty much Tencent as a whole, along with every other company that markets games in China and sells games in China, like most of the money they're making there is from their in-game purchases, and if their purchases are limited, they're going to lose a massive amount
well,
of cash. And
not
the
necessarily.
how's
My
so?
question would be, so I would agree that much of the money they're making are from the in-game purchases. The question I have would be because China
Oh, we
doesn't
know it
care
is. Like you look at
if,
the
well,
net
yeah,
revenues
but
and profits, and
that aside, China doesn't care that people are spending money on in-game purchases. China's only at least saying they care that minors are spending money on in-game
hmm.
purchases. So they don't care if you have the worst fucking loot box mechanics in the world, as long as you have an age gate on there, that's perfectly fine.
Oh no,
So
it is also limiting adults.
okay,
They're
I'm
limited to
honestly surprised there.
they're $61.86 for 16 to 18 year olds.
Okay,
Thirty
I
dollars and
would be,
ninety
and
three
now bear in
cents.
mind that's just what they're saying. That's just
Yeah,
what they're saying. The question would be, what are they doing?
who knows?
So,
But my
but
point was just
that being
that
said,
yeah, but my point was just that this could possibly lead to, again, they're losing money in China, and maybe they'll stop targeting China and focusing on the Chinese market and focus back on making
maybe
games for America and the UK.
that would be nice. I
But
doubt it,
oh,
just because it seems
I am
like
just saying that that is a possibility, but I don't expect
how
it to happen.
how dare you
That's
have
like
hope.
that's a sliver of hope that's maybe the size of a microscopic organism.
The size of a potato in Utah?
No, smaller. Um, no, the organism that's eating the potato, on a
So
cellular
humans?
level. But yeah, when
I
it comes
mean,
to, but the thing
either
is,
way, companies are
even
going
if
to
it is a
company.
positive, like even if that does happen, say that does happen, they start focusing it on, you know, first off, yeah, they might just stop focusing on the Chinese market and just do the same shit, but more heavily so on the American and UK markets. But
Well, the thing of it is, though, even the EU has been cracking down on
oh,
that shit pretty heavy
well,
too,
the UK is actually cracking down on some money spending stuff too. But
which I like.
honestly,
I wish the
even
US
if
would
this
follow.
was a positive, right? Like the money spending stuff, the limitations on how much one can spend in a game,
Hmm.
it's coming at the cost of the Chinese players. So, and probably too high a cost. I don't know. Just looking at it for like morally, and but look, either way, that it in-game monetization shouldn't exist in a perfect world. That's all I'm saying. We talked that to death like a year ago.
So why are we resurrecting its corpse?
No, think of it as a eulogy.
With zombies?
Yes, because fuck the Chinese regulations.
I think you mean fuck West Taiwan's measures.
Remember that stupid thing? What was that wrestler turned actor? He was in
The Rock?
No, he had the stupid theme song whenever he came into a room.
John Cena?
Yes, he have to do this whole like apology because he accidentally said that
for something he had said that
he said that Taiwan was a country.
His handlers or something told him, "You better fucking say this, or else we're."
And he gave this super brown nosing apology in Mandarin.
Yeah. Honestly, from what I hear of John Cena, he's a pretty down-to-earth guy. I don't really blame him for.
No, it's totally you want to keep your career. Here's a career saver right now. Do this extremely humiliating and degrading thing, and you will continue to be an actor.
Well, I mean, even then, okay, let me go and read off this fucking script that some screenwriter gave off to me and sound appropriately, and not just sound like I'm reading a third grade college essay, but just fucking put some emotion in my voice. Boom, okay, I did it. Cool, okay, whatever. Moving on.
Oh, here's that image, by the way.
It's bullshit, but
yeah, I found that image I was talking about with the effeminate men that they don't want.
And it's showing it's like a fucking Dragon Ball character with pink hair. Oh, you can't have that pink hair.
You see it?
Oh boy. I'm not at my computer.
Well, get there, damn it.
You want me to walk off my couch and take the 22 and a half
walk? No, I want you to crawl. But as you can see on this is the character that China has a problem with because it's effeminate. Because there's pink.
I'm scared to see what they think is masculine.
A robot.
Maybe. So that's where the Cybermen from Doctor Who came from.
They were originally Chinese sex bots.
Don't fucking laugh. What is my purpose? Oh god.
Oh my god, there are so many screw jokes there.
Make sure you make sure you tighten the nuts.
Oh man, this screw is hard.
Sounds like a personal problem.
Alright, moving on. Yeah, the China's regulations, it's out of control, honestly. And that's just the problem with censorship as a whole, is it's never enough. Just when you start censoring something, where do you stop? You can always come up with bullshit excuses for censoring something.
Exactly.
That's what we're seeing in the States.
For everything.
So excuse me. But yeah, we also got China banning live streaming for underage kids.
Of course, again, can't have people getting ideas.
So pretty much, if you're under those under 16 will be banned from live streaming. And Cam, before you ask how, we know that they're totally capable of doing it. It's not a question of how; it's a question of why.
You can do pretty much anything you want. If you can come up with an idea, you can make a program that'll do it. Of course, there's going to be how convoluted and messy your damn code is, but you can do it.
We're also talking about a government that's very determined on keeping their people the way they want it. The way they want them. I mean, they literally do ethnic cleansing, which is essentially just genocide. They have fucking concentration camps. We're not talking about a very nice people. Or I should say very nice government. And some of the people, I'm sure, in the government aren't great either. But you know what I mean. Anyway, they've limited, they limited the ages. You can only play from 8 to 9 on weekends, and you can't play during the week at all if you're under 18. And now, if you're 16 or younger, you cannot live stream. Honestly, though, an hour live stream, I mean, let me put it this way: I would not survive in China. Just not regarding the live streaming stuff, just regarding the game restrictions. I would not survive. And all the sources of this are coming from the South China Morning Post. So, and this is all to combat the gaming addiction that they're so afraid of. And we all know the real reason. I'll also put a link. I believe it's in the description. For the never mind. It's just on the screen. Here it is. Yep. Yeah, it's crazy. They got all sorts of BS. Like the Chinese game studios are to navigate new regulations for approval, which is going to slow games for approval. Tencent is currently publishing PlayerUnknown's Battleground in China, which I remember a few years ago that's when they banned the death animations. Instead, the characters kneel and then disappear.
Okay. You see some kid who joins the Chinese military, shoots a guy. Wait, why isn't he kneeling? you gotta kneel. Why isn't he kneeling? What's this red stuff?
Now, so we also got over 200 Chinese game firms reportedly vowed to self-regulate in the face of the new restrictions, which...
Not surprising.
No, but honestly, knowing that it's Chinese companies and just the track records, they're probably going to. But again, this exact announcement is the reason why we have that snitch website. So, or rather, they have that snitch website. Also, China seeks more curbs gaming live streaming 10-year plan for children. Yeah, it's kind of freaking... It's crazy. It's absurd. It's crazy. And it's a shame too, because gaming has a lot of boosts to the human mind. Playing games is cognitively it's good for your mind. I clearly am just stuttering and kind of brain fried, but I honestly haven't.
Don't do drugs.
Yeah. Or maybe do drugs. I don't know.
Either way.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have some. Anyway, my point being is like it's games can make you think, especially puzzle games. They get your mind working, and there's a lot of good things that can come from gaming, especially not just from what they do to your brain, but also games, storytelling in games. They can tell you some really good stories. They have some really good stuff. I was actually I was replaying some Assassin's Creed Revelations a few years ago, and I don't know why it came up today, but I was thinking about it again, and I was remembering how great the story was. It's there's just good storytelling that doesn't get a lot of attention, at least compared to the other games. But then again, we're talking about China. They don't care about story. They care about keeping people in line and subordinate and mellow. Shall we move on?
Can we move on?
I don't know. Can you? I know I can't.
I blame Canada.
All right. Well, Battlefield 6 got delayed. Or sorry, Battlefield 2042 got delayed a month
No, not true.
from October 22nd, which, as of the making of this video, would be in 2 weeks from now. It is now going to be releasing on November 19th. That's it. I mean,
Good.
it's let's see. EA delayed the release of Battlefield 2042 by a month, but reassured investors that the impact. Oh crap! They didn't see the image on. Nope, because I had the be rolling. Here's that effeminate man that they were complaining about. By the way, here you go, people. But yeah, the Battlefield is. They delayed it a month, reassured investors that the impact of delay on results would be limited. Battlefield 2042 is now expected to launch worldwide on November 19th, a month after its previously scheduled release date of October 22nd. Despite the shift, EA reiterated its net booking guidance of $7.4 billion for the fiscal year ending of March 31st, 2022. DICE Studio GM Oscar Gabrielson blamed the delay on COVID-19 in a statement to players, saying, "Building next generation of Battlefield during a global pandemic has created unforeseen challenges for our development team. Given the scale and scope of the game, we had hoped our teams would be back in our studios together as we move forward towards launch. With the ongoing conditions not allowing that to happen safely, and with all the hard work the teams are doing from home, we feel it is important to take extra time to deliver on the vision of Battlefield 2042 for our players." The last installment, Battlefield 5, suffered a similar 1 month delay from an October launch window to November prior to its debut in 2018, in which it launched unfinished, where the tutorial did not come with the game. It was patched in a week later. I shit you not. The tutorial, the shooting range mode, I don't remember what it's called, but essentially the tutorial mode of Battlefield 5 was not in the game at launch. Let alone a whole other bunch of game modes and features. Also the fact that it was, one of those politically correct rewriting history bullshit, which is why I hate it. Anyway, that slide was blamed for a number of hedge funds selling their stakes in the publisher and dropping EA's share price. At the time, this was for Battlefield 5, but for the Battlefield 2042, they're blaming COVID, which I have, for some reason, there's a gut feeling that I call bullshit. I don't know why, because it could very well be the reason, and a very logical and reason that they had to delay the game, but I don't know. I feel like there's something more. It's EA. I just don't trust them. I know a lot of people are worried about the game now. Like, oh, is it like they have to polish it, or is it unready, unfinished? I think it's probably because it's unfinished, and they're just trying to get in as much content, or at the very least, as minimal viable product at launch, so that they can then have the rest of the content come in later. But yeah, that's Battlefield 2042 delayed. Releases November 19th. Cam, are you aware of this next story?
I'm aware of many things, but until I know what it is, I can't
So,
say
Hitman 3 DRM on GOG.
Oh yeah, I think I heard about it.
So, the game requires you to be connected to the IO1 server. Whatever IO, whatever the
Here's my question: did GOG put that in, or is it just something that's built into the game itself that
Both.
because it's being hosted? Well, did GOG put code in specifically to go and make this work? Because if it's built into the game, that's not something they can just remove just by hosting it on their platform.
IO Interactive.
which then sounds like it's something that was built inherently into the game, and GOG has to.
So
just play
according
better
to the article originally uploaded by freaking Eurogamer here, Hitman Game of the Year edition launched on GOG this week and immediately sparked a row about DRM. GOG is a storefront whose brand is built upon selling games DRM free. That is, they can be played offline. Hitman's GOG page, like that of so many games on the platform, highlights that it is DRM free, which it is not. No activation or online connection required to play, which is false. And so for anyone who doesn't know, Hitman 1, 2, and 3 all require you to be connected to the IO Interactive servers in order to play and for your progress to matter. So, like, because I played, I actually recently downloaded Hitman 2 for the first time, and it's like the free version on Steam, so it's only one level. And I played it, and it was a lot of fun, but then I wasn't online. I went offline to play, and I was playing, and none of it, like, I didn't get any rating at the end, none of it happened, like, none of the progress actually mattered, none of the challenges were completed, despite my completing a bunch of them.
It's if it was something that GOG went and specifically edited the code to put that in, that's one thing. If it's something that's baked into the game that they cannot remove, and rather unfortunately for them, they had just copy pasted everything else on the store page from the last store page they had. Now, should they have gone and probably looked a bit more into it and not just copy pasted everything from the last store page they worked on to accurately reflect that, hey, this game has a built-in DRM that we can't go and deactivate here. We're going to offer it, but sorry, it does have DRM. Yes, but beyond that, it seems either someone didn't do their homework or was just like, whoops, so nothing we can do about it, but we're still going to sell it, so...
Yeah, but anyway, the point is, in Hitman 1, which I actually have on my Xbox One, I played literally the entirety of that game, and yeah, it requires you to play online. Otherwise, like, it can be played offline, but in order for anything to truly matter, in order to progress, even
it won't save your
you need to play online because you need to be connected to the IO Interactive servers. And by the way, on the Xbox, you disconnect all the damn time, and load times are fucking horrible because you have to be connected online to the servers in order to play.
Yeah,
it's not as bad on PC, but it's not great. But anyway, and in order to play online, and that's just the main game, like the regular missions. If you want to play escalation missions, elusive targets, or the user-created contacts, you have to play online. You have to be connected online just to play them at all.
Yeah, just like I said, to me, what I'm seeing there is that, and again, if they had gone and specifically added code to add that DRM in there, that would be one thing. But to me, it just seems like, okay, they got the game.
I think it's just people are blowing up because it's false advertising on the GOG page.
Yeah, and it's like, and I can understand that. At the same point, though, it's just like
review bombing isn't necessarily the correct thing to do because
exactly,
which is what happened.
Countless times seen people essentially have like temper tantrums because they expect something, and now should it be saying that it's DRM free and you can play it? Oh, and strictly speaking, you can play it offline. Now, sure, is it as fully functional as it would be if you were playing online? No, but it doesn't say that. Now, would that then be misleading? Absolutely. However, again, you just have some, and realistically, honestly, I would say with some of it is that, should they have done their full homework on it and presented it that, hey, by the way, guys, whoops, this can't be DRM free as they've made it, and we're not going to go and look at breaking the game just to make it DRM free. Sorry, guys, here's what we got. Yeah, that would have been a lot better. But as it is, you're always going to have some people who are literally just looking for the next thing to be outraged over. And honestly, I'd say that's where a decent amount of the outrage is coming from. People who just want to jump on the next bandwagon, the next thing to be. I mean, shit. Technically speaking, we're doing the exact same fucking thing by talking about it here.
Well, no, because we're talking about it from an out. I'm just. We're just trying to point out. We're pointing out both sides.
No, sure, but still. Either way,
I think it is worth talking about because you're talking about false advertising. We've seen that way too often.
Yeah.
It needs to be talked about and brought up and stopped. You're asking people to give you money. You have to be honest. I mean, obviously.
Hey, can you give me money?
I wish. I don't have money to give. I have no fucks to give either. But yeah, anyway, all of this problem, the misleading GOG page, and the fact that Hitman requires you to be online just to really progress and earn anything, to really play the game in its entire at all. People started review bombing Hitman with a 1.4 or 1.5 overall rating, a terrible user score for a game, which is actually really, really damn fun. Again, I've played the first Hitman no subtitle from 2016. I played the beta. I played the I actually played the beta at Comic-Con that year. Fun. But I played the full game, including DLCs and all, on my Xbox One, and I freaking love it. I love escalation missions. I love the Watch from Face mission, the Patient Zero campaign. It's just, the game it's fun, it's a little silly at times, but in a good way. Like, purposefully so. Like, the game knows that some of the aspects are silly, so they take advantage of that.
What does the nose?
Yeah. I mean, there's literally a clown outfit in the game that you can start with. It came out right as the 2017 Pennywise movie,
Okay,
whatever.
But does it have an option as like a distraction to be able to honk a clown nose and make a little?
No, but I mean, it does give you a
Fucking
baseball bat.
hell,
It does give you a baseball bat when you hit people. Confetti flies. So
I don't think that's how that works.
it does now. There's also red balloons that you can shoot everywhere. So.
But that's blood.
We are talking about
This
Hitman,
isn't
yes.
this isn't confetti at all.
Oh god, that's like that. Now you're reminding me of the what was that British that game that takes place in alternate 1960s London?
Oh, you're thinking of
We Happy
fucking,
Few.
We Happy Few.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd been.
I love the concept of that game, but I heard it was.
Yeah, just the execution of it was terrible. Like, it sounded really cool.
It did. It sounded really cool.
This, like, half-hearted story of it and said, "Yeah, we're done."
Yeah, that's
total. Look in the chat.
Nothing. No one's in the chat. We don't have any views.
No.
Oh, you mean the group chat?
The
Okay.
fucking Discord chat.
Oh, you know what's funny? I'm working on I'm actually working on a video with that. I wanna have Slim Pickens Rides the Bomb to Hell with that image.
It becomes the Doomslayer. Bad guys. Why do I suddenly hear boss music?
No, they one of them name drops. What's the composer of the Doom soundtrack again?
Fuck man, I forgot.
Well, I know I'm blanking on his name. I was blanking on names today.
That one guy with the name and like the other name.
Mick Gordon, that's it. One of them just goes, anyone else hear Mick Gordon? Alright, so yeah, they've been review bombing a really good game because of the DRM thing. Most reviews mention online DRM. You can only play this game with the basic options, many features such as unlocking pretty much progression in its entirety. You have required online connection. So the GOG page does not make this clear and it's extremely misleading. Another one says the only worthwhile AAA stealth game in years, so long as you disable hints and X-ray vision. But over 5 years later, IO still refused to implement a proper offline mode. So bare minimum, you don't need to be online to unlock new equipment, starting location, etc. By the way, having played now both Hitman 1 and 2, I haven't played the third one yet. Yeah, this game totally does not need to be connected to the internet at all. Like, this totally could have just been a regular standalone game like Hitman titles of old. This doesn't need to be connected to the internet. Like, obviously the user-generated contracts and the elusive targets, yes, those would need to be connected to the internet. However, everything else, the escalation missions, the main campaign, progression, achievements, challenges, pretty much everything else that isn't an elusive target or user-generated contracts, everything else does not, or at least should not, need an internet connection. I cannot stress that enough. This game could easily be a game that does not need an internet connection, aside from the two specific contract modes I just listed. But however, the entire game essentially needs you to be connected to the internet, which I think sucks.
Oh, absolutely. But that being said, it'd be like if, for example, let's say that Epic Games goes and hosted on their web store. They went and hosted.
They're adding achievements to the
new
Epic
Modern
Games Store.
Warfare. And they were like, oh yeah, you can play it offline. People are like, well, yeah, you can play it offline, but you can't access all these features. Sure, but they aren't the developer. If you have an issue with something inside of the game,
I'm not talking about GOG or anything. I'm just saying, my opinion on the game itself and on IO Interactive, this game does not need to be. None of the Hitman games need to be connected.
Pretty much across the board, almost always affects the actual users far worse than it does any actual.
Well, the whole point is to protect it from piracy. And honestly, it's priority 1, protect from piracy. Priority 2, to prevent customers from sharing the game with other customers who haven't bought it.
Yeah, but what's realistic is
like for instance, piracy. Like back in the 360 days, I would bring all my Assassin's Creed games and like Halo Reach and stuff to my friend's place on his Xbox One, so that we can play it there. I'd bring an extra controller because he didn't have one. Like, we do all sorts of stuff, and no problems, It's like, that's how it was.
You have them buy the game too, you fucker.
Oh, he eventually got Reach and we played together. It was a lot of fun. But before that, I brought the game.
Reach.
Before that, I brought the game, and that's how we played it. And he's like, "Hey, I gotta get this game for myself so I can play it." But like, that's what that game did, is it got him to get it when I brought it over. But my point is that you can't even do that nowadays. That's what DRM's to prevent it is there to prevent.
Well, I mean, yeah, yes and no. I mean, you do have a lot of things. I mean, for example, with Steam, I can go and do library sharing.
That's
now,
true.
one thing I really dislike, because I've tried out library sharing before, and now bear in mind this was probably like a couple of years ago, but when I used it back then,
they changed how it works. You would now need, if you and I were to share libraries, you would need to sign in to Steam on my computer.
Well, that aside, once it's all set up, the way it worked, at least when I tested this out, and like I said, this was about like 2 years ago or so, it was that if the other person, they're like, oh, hey, I want to play this game. They go and load up the game from my library. Everything works fine. If I go and say, I want to play this other game, so not the game they're playing, I want to go and play this other game, it would then kick them out.
So I actually did this with my brother. We shared a Steam library. I still have all of his games installed, but now if I click on them, because they updated something, whenever I click on one of his games, it will give me a borrow option. If I click on that borrow option, it will say 3 things. I'd rather buy it, cancel, or request access. And if I do request access, I get that noise. And it will then say family library sharing request, and it sends a bunch of stuff.
Has to approve it.
Yeah, and he has to approve it.
But can he be playing one game and you be playing a game from his library, a separate game?
No,
his library.
I honestly, yes, because we've done it before. He was we've done it before. So
okay,
that before they updated it because so I just sent it
because I'm like, if I was sitting there with the games of the disc and we had two consoles essentially, I can here's this game. I'm gonna go play this other game. Boom, no problem. And I was just like, it makes no sense. And it's like, you can only have one person using the account, so to speak. It's like, it should just be based on a per game, which it does sound like they've done, which that's definitely nice.
By the way, that noise you just heard, I just sent the request, and it says, in order to allow game sharing, the owner must log in to this machine and enable it. Yeah, despite he already enabled it, by the way. So.
Oh, yeah, that's fucking stupid then.
But also here, back to the whole GOG thing with Hitman. They're review bombing it, and GOG responded. One of the reviews says this game doesn't belong here, which, given GOG's whole thing of DRM free games, not exactly wrong, but. Here, GOG responded via a forum post that told disgruntled customers they are free to refund Hitman if they're not happy, and issue a warning over review bombing, saying, "Thank you for bringing this topic to our attention. We're looking into it, and we will be updating you in the coming weeks. In case you have purchased Hitman and are not satisfied with the version, you can use your right to refund the game. At the same time, while we're open for meritful discussion and feedback, we will not tolerate review bombing and will be removing posts that do not follow our review guidelines." So, and apparently the statement didn't go well. So, yeah, that's really the story. I mean, again, it's pretty much just the problem here. I don't think the problem really here is. I think there's a problem on both sides. Should this game have been on GOG? Given the nature of the game, maybe not. But I don't think, review bombing is probably not going to be the best.
No.
Wasn't the best course of action. But I can't blame them for doing so. Like, it's understandable. Given the fact that, this game, and I've already said, I don't believe this game should be online in order to play. Aside from elusive targets and user-generated missions, but that's not how the game is, unfortunately, despite how it should be. And you have to be online to play, which again, I maybe shouldn't be on GOG for that. But that being said, though, probably better on GOG than Steam. Definitely Epic Games Store. And well, that's the whole thing there. I mean, again, it doesn't need to be online. Servers suck too. Like, you're always disconnecting, reconnecting. Well, earlier I mentioned the UK regarding spending, in-game spending. So we have an article here saying the UK ad regulator, the ASA, I think. No, not the. Yeah, no, ASA. Issues new guidance on in-game spending. The Committee of Advertising Practice details preferred handling of virtual currencies pricing and pressure tactics in ads. And apparently they're talking about the variety of topics such as virtual currency purchases, bundled items, odd pricing, and time-limited offers. They're insisting that the companies are clear with users about the costs of in-game goods, but also notes that these restrictions only apply to virtual currency that requires a purchase. So not real world cash. All right. I mean, or unless that's what virtual currency is. That's real world cash, but in a. No, okay. It continues. If it can also be earned through gameplay, it is no longer a direct substitution for real world money, and any inducement to or presentation of purchase with the virtual currency would not be considered to be advertising. So pretty much they're not including anything that can also be earned in game. So if you have something that can be earned in game and be purchased with real money, they're not counting it, despite the fact that they totally should. Anything that has real money, they should. That's just me. The organization explains that for purchase of bundled items, advertising claims such as best value or cheapest should only relate to the cost per unit price and not the cost of the bundle. When it comes to saving claims on bundles, the committee advises that advertisers should be certain that any claims made for a specific bundle should be the same for players. They also note that customers should be aware about odd pricing within games as well. Odd pricing occurs when the increments of currency bundles do not match the increments of the virtual currency price for items, meaning that all players have to purchase more currency than they need to spend on the items compared to the in-game, compared to the real world money. It's pretty much just a regulation. Honestly, it's good. It's good news. They're trying to get regulations. It's a step in the right direction, but it's not nearly enough. This is pretty much like a slap on the wrist, honestly. I don't know. Perhaps I just want the extreme of get rid of in-game purchases altogether in all of gaming. Dare to dream, but. Can we still there?
Nope.
Bummer. Well, oh, you're gonna enjoy this one. Did you hear about the new Super Mario movie?
Nope.
So they're making a new Super Mario movie because apparently the last one wasn't bad enough. This time around it's animated, but there's a lot of controversy around the film because apparently Chris Pratt is doing the voice of Mario, as opposed to the guy that's been doing the voice of Mario for the last, half decade, a half century. I mean,
Depends how well he does it. If he can do a good job, okay. If he can't, then yeah, bad call. That's all I care about.
yeah. I mean, again, I really don't care. I'm not a big Nintendo guy. I've played the Super Mario Bros. And stuff like that, but I've played them. Not other than that, not. I don't really care. Hell, I didn't even care much for the Sonic movie. I haven't even seen it. Oh. Yeah, I mean, do you want to talk about the roadmap roundup?
Man,
All yours.
mine. It's CIG's, not mine.
Well, you want the player tell the hypothetical viewers what you were telling me about the player item shard transition and everything else.
Shards. Okay, done. Jeez, I gotta read. Let me find the link again.
Literally in the group chat.
Exactly. I gotta click on it, and I gotta scroll up, and then I gotta click the link.
I just put it. Okay.
God, jeez. Okay, so nothing was delayed on the roadmap roundup this week, so that was good. Although I still got a feeling Salvage is gonna slide back yet again, as it always does.
Oh, for starters, we should say we're talking about Star Citizen now.
Yeah. But several items were added onto it. Among them is player item shard transition. Its description being, with the introduction of fully persistent shards, items or ships that are left in the open space are bound to that shard until a player collects them and stores them into an inventory or parks a ship at a landing location. To provide a more frictionless experience, we will implement a feature that automatically stores these freely placed items from the shard when areas are streamed out and places them into a different shard when the player logs into a new shard. This allows players to find their freely placed ships or items left in open space regardless of the shard instance they are assigned during login. So essentially what this is saying is that, hey, if you go on a bunker mission, you get your ass handed to you, and you go back to that same bunker the next day with 3 or 4 of your buddies, clear through everything there, you should go and still find your items all sitting there where they were before. Same with your ship. If you were to go and, let's say you go to explore a cave, you land your ship outside of it, you go in there and you break both your legs and you rage quit, or you have to go because it's dinner time or some shit like that, you just quit the game there. You log in the next day, your ship should still be outside of that cave. So if you were to have your buddy fly you out to that cave, your ship should be outside of there or as close as possible. Now, that being said, a pretty big caveat there. I'm still assuming, because based on the other things they've said, I'm still assuming that there's going to still be a timer on how long these things will exist. So, for example, let's say that ship that's sitting there, if you were to, let's say if you were doing some mining, let's say you had a Cutlass Black and a rock, and you fly around, oh, hey, I found a mining deposit there. And oops, I gotta go, and you just quit right there, leaving your Cutlass Black and the rock there. I'm assuming that Cutlass Black and rock, it'll stay there for some time, maybe even a decent amount of times. We might say a week, maybe even way down the line once all these systems and services are all set up and optimized and shit. Maybe it'll stay around for a month or more, potentially speaking. But after a certain amount of time, I would say it's pretty likely that those items will go and just disappear after some time, just to go and free up server space. Or things like, hey, while that Cutlass Black and rock were sitting there, you went and you were like, screw that. I'm going to go and, I'll claim it on my insurance. Okay, that goes and takes that timer from being a week to being a day, because hey, this ship has been claimed here, so there's it's no longer your actual primary ship. We're going to go and shorten the timer. Stuff like that, I'm assuming, just because otherwise you're just going to have so many fucking abandoned spacecraft and junk sitting out there that it's going to go, and if nothing else, bog down the servers incredibly. So
they don't need our help with that right now. The servers are bogged down enough.
Exactly. So definitely a step in the right direction, especially too, because there's all kinds of times when you have to abandon a vehicle or for whatever reason you can't go and just pull it out of there. And it'd definitely be nice to later, for example, hey, I was down by pirates and my ship is non-functional now. It's in a disabled but not destroyed mode. I quit, or maybe I bed log, assuming that the bed logging still works on the disabled but not destroyed ship. I spawn in the next day, and let's say I just quit. I'm back on the station now, and I go in and chat, and I'm like, hey, I need someone who has a repair ship or SRV to go and be able to tractor beam my ship back to the city or station here to get it repaired. And no one responded last night, but now that you have time, or now that there are other people, oh yeah, sure, I can be over there in a couple of minutes. And okay, your ship is still there. You can now go and retrieve your ship. So stuff like that will finally be doable. Other shit they have that they added, developing a player character creator for Squadron 42. So then that means we're going to be able to customize our character in Squadron, which is nice. We've got some name resolving API, so just some engine shit. AI landing improvements, so that'll be things like NPCs that'll go and land a ship out in the middle of the woods somewhere to go and ambush you, or for NPCs to be doing patrols or whatever else. So essentially landing at areas that's not a bespoke landing zone or something like that, being able to land outside of those areas, outside of a cave, maybe, whatever. AI navigation links for elevators or transit. So that's essentially just more coding to allow AIs to be able to, for example, go from let's say, for example, if you have a ship that's landed at area 18 with an NPC, that NPC might have a goal of, oh, I need to go sell my cargo. That NPC will be able to, one, use the elevators from the hangar, go over to the main spaceport area, and then be able to, from there, go over to the tram, get on the tram, transition and wait for that to go to the main city area, get off the tram, and now be able to go and sell their cargo. Because right now NPCs cannot transition between those areas. They kind of see the tram as this other thing, and they can't really interact with it too well. So they're implementing that. Some movement improvements to make NPCs less stiff and robotic. There is a new Gray Cat Industrial Salvage backpack. So I'm assuming this is going to go hand in hand with the Salvage tool. This might be a backpack that'll be able to,
I assume collect materials.
yeah, like I'm assuming there'll be some connection to the multi-tool that'll be able to, like, you might have like a tube or something that connects from the Salvage tool to the backpack or some shit. But
maybe not the multi-tool. Maybe not the multi-tool we have right now, but one of those larger ones, like those rifle-sized ones.
Well, yeah, maybe not the multi-tool, but the bespoke salvage tool. But either way, it says concepting, designing, and implementing this variant of the Gray Cat Specialist backpack geared toward storing salvaged material. So it also sounds like we're going to have several utility backpacks that are made just for storing certain things.
Well, we already have a Gray Cat backpack with the new armor.
No, this is the Gray Cat Specialist backpack.
No, but I'm saying that's why they say this variant.
We have a backpack on the Arrow armor. However, we do not know, and indeed I would suggest that it is not the Gray Cat Specialist backpack.
No, I'm just saying that it is a backpack made by Gray Cat, so it's probably why they worded it that way.
We also have staff outfits for Lorville Hospital staff, Levski Hospital staff, and Area 18 hospital staff. Oh, and Outlaw medical outfit. So this is suggesting then that medical staff at Lorville will have different clothing and outfits than those at Levski, than those at Area 18, than those who are at Grimhacks or otherwise outlaws and not affiliated with a specific legal landing zone. So that's kind
further helping differentiate each location, make it more unique.
Yep, exactly. We've got DNA head textures, so all that's really doing is it's just improving like some of the textures and shit for the character faces. Xenothreat armor, so Xenothreat members are finally going to have their own bespoke armor as opposed to just the hodgepodge they have now. It could still just be hodgepodge with like some extra paint slapped on there, but still they'll have their own shit. And then the fire extinguisher, which had been removed previously, is now back on the progress tracker. So we're going to
why
use
that's
the fire
important
extinguisher to put out fires. Shocking that.
Yeah, I was going to say, and that's important because of fire propagation, which is going to be a system coming sometime soon, TM. But yeah, you're gonna need a fire extinguisher.
And then on top of all of that, the Grimhex Clinic and the Crusader A2 Hercules Starlifter have both been locked in for 315. So that would mean at this point, if I pull up the release view on the roadie map here, so all location items, so which are pretty much all of the clinics and Orison version 2, have been locked in at this point. Under AI, doctor nurse AI behaviors has been locked in. However, shops and patrons is still tentative. So that's add the vendor behavior to the coffee stand, pizza bar, kiosks, and more, which is the iterations off of the bartender code. All gameplay cards have been locked in, which includes scoreboard UI improvements, updating the Broken Moon map, infiltration and defend missions at bunkers, physical local inventory support, asset manager app in the mobiGlass, loot generation, personal inventory, healing tech, tier 0, bombs, and NPC healing, all locked in. Ships and vehicles, so again, we've got the A2, which is locked in. However, the Redeemer and both Ares variants.
I think they said that both of those ships, the Ares and the Redeemer, they're going to be the 315.
That's what they've been saying for the the last year or so. That's how every ship has been. It's been on an iterative patch, not right at the beginning. And then for weapons and items, both the Cure Life multi-tool and the Great Cat multi-tool healing attachment, so the bespoke medical tool and the multi-tool attachment to heal, are both committed, and the only items that are not are the ballistic and laser.
The guns for the Ares.
Yeah, so realistically, honestly, so at this point, all that is not locked in is the Ares and Inferno, the weapons for the Ares and Inferno, and the Redeemer. Everything else, and the shop.
And the one shop thing.
Beyond that, everything else is committed. Now, that doesn't mean everything else is done at this point. That just means everything is in a state that they are confident that they can go and get that version of the deliverable out in this patch cycle. Which also means, too, you might have like, oh, hey, we've put out personal inventory, but they're going to go and put in some more like hotfixes and improvements in the 3.15.x, so 0.01, 0.02, whatever patches to fix it and do improvements, but it's still going to be delivered in this quarter. That's all that it really means. So it doesn't mean that it's going to be perfect. It doesn't mean that it's not going to have issues. It just means it will be in. So yeah, everything else, I will say 316 is looking kind of light, but that's not a huge surprise considering one, it's the end of the year, and they of course have their usual vacation there. Not to mention too just how, I mean, frankly speaking, 315 is a pretty fucking heavy patch here. So not surprising that the ones coming after that won't be caring, but that's still the same with location just being the Area 18 hospital.
Well, look what else 316 is getting. You say light, but we're getting Salvage tier 0 supposedly. Supposedly.
I was gonna read through it here. So, but we've got the Area 18 hospital coming. Gameplay, we've got player slide. So essentially, if you're sprinting and you probably like hit croucher or prone or something, you'll do a slide as opposed to just stopping. So that gives you some more tactical maneuvers there. We have new prone movement coming. It says all tasks related to improving prone, lying down, movement by player and NPCs. And prone has been notably buggy in some cases here, so hopefully they'll fix that. Hopefully we'll finally get like the rolling.
But like, to say, finally we can do some combat rolls. Because at the moment we don't have rolls at all.
And even in the control setup, it has an option that says double tap to do a roll while prone, but you don't do a roll. You just flip onto your back or flip onto your front, and that's it. So hopefully that'll be in there. Physicalized weapon handling. So introduces character animations while interacting with and customizing FPS weapons. So more interaction with the weapon itself if you are looking at it, customizing it so that it actually seems like your character is holding this weapon and it's not just some thing taped to your hand. Salvage 2.0, which if they manage to get that in, that'll be pretty damn fucking big on that alone. The whole C. And it's interesting to note, they said originally when they were going to put out Salvage that the Vulture would be coming along with it. However, if this is accurate here, and also too, they just said that the Vulture had just got done, I believe, with Greybox.
Did they? I thought it was still in Greybox.
Either way, even if it did just get done with the Greybox, you still have to have it go through final arts and everything else there.
There's at least like 3 more stages, or at most 2 more stages left.
So I would say then that if we do get Salvage in 3.16 here, so end of the year, it looks like we are not getting at this point the Vulture to go along with it.
Well, at least we have the Reclaimers, so.
Yeah, we do. Now I'll note right now the Vulture is not in the release view on the roadmap, so it's not under 3.16, it's not under 3.17, it's not under 3.18.
I just showed it off on screen. It's not there at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now I would presume, again, if they are looking to actually get Salvage out, I would presume that they would probably be throwing more people onto the Vulture just to get it done in time for that. Because, like I said, they originally said, "Hey, once Salvage is out, we're bringing the Vulture out," just because, plenty of people do have a Reclaimer. However, more people have a
Vulture.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's all right.
Than the Reclaimer. So
also, it's a smaller ship that can be manned by a smaller crew, if not one person.
By a crew of 1. It's a solo ship, as far as I'm aware.
Whereas the Reclaimer is the be-all end-all salvage ship.
Yeah, I mean it's meant to be essentially a sub-capital for mining there. But just because the Vulture itself is not on the roadmap, it could definitely slide in there, but we don't know. But the whole C is slated for 3.16, which will be the first whole ship that we get,
as well as the most favored.
Good. Now that being said, I'm not seeing gameplay wise. I'm not seeing because one thing too that's always been one of the big things with the whole series is that they've always said, "Hey, we're waiting for the cargo refactor to be done before we do that." I don't see the cargo refactor on the roadmap as a release view item.
Honestly, I don't think that they're going to be. I don't think they're going to make it in 3.16. Well, we saw their progress.
Chances, especially if they do push the Vulture, there's definitely chances that the whole C could slide off for sure.
I think in the most recent Inside Star Citizen, if not the last, they showed off both the Hull A and Hull C and the work they're doing, and they're still working on them, and they don't look like they're going to be done.
Well, I mean, the whole they showed off. I believe it was the whole C, and it looked, at least exterior wise, it looked. As far as I'm aware, I think it was that when it's folded up, they've got it all done, which would make sense.
Yeah.
It's just when the cargo array is extended out and shit, therein is the issue, and that's always been the issue. So they might be looking to just put it out and not have it be able to transform and put out the cargo arms on there or something. I don't know, but either way, Next item is the ship shield emitters. So they're physicalizing those, i.e. that just like how a gun turret, you could potentially have like you could have like a gun mount on a wing get shot off, and whoops, you just lost that weapon now.
You can target
Shield
weapons, you can
emitters are
target
now a
engines,
physical
now you
part.
can target shields.
Well, you might not be able to target them as a subcomponent on the like have your pip aiming at the shield emitters. That itself might not be in, but the shield emitters themselves will now be tied to a physical item. So that, let's say if your ship is sitting on the landing pad and I've got a railgun and I shoot the shield emitters on your ship while your ship is sitting there, power down, shields off, you're like, oh shit! You run into your cockpit and start booting everything up and trying to get out of there. Your shields will not be coming up, or you might have only partial coverage because one of several emitters might be damaged, something like that. But I don't necessarily know if they'll have targeting keyed into it as well, just because right now we can only target like what, engines and power plants, I think, right now. And we've also got, physical components, we have coolers and we've got the quantum drive and all that kind of stuff. So who knows if we'll actually be able to target those. Anyway, we've also got the salvage attachment for the multi-tool that's coming. The laser trip mine. One big thing here is the dynamic door alignment for vehicles. So what this will do, and this has been a long-standing complaint from people, is that if you go and you land your ship and the ground is all fucking wonky and shit, for doors, and I'm presuming as well, it says doors and elevators. But essentially, so when you go
And
to
ramps.
open up the door for your Cutlass Black or your elevator on your Constellation, it will be able to detect, hey, here's the ground. Okay, I don't need to extend fully. Let me only go out to 80% here until I'm touching the ground, and it's good as is. It's no longer going to jack the ship up because it has to go to its full extension. Now, what I would really love, and I hope they do this as part of it too, I hope that they allow for some small amounts of overextension. So, for example, with like the Constellation with that elevator, I hope they make it so that if you were looking at the Constellation as being completely flat, the elevator should be able to go down another like 3 or 4 feet from there, just in case. Again, if you're on uneven terrain and your back part is on a bit of a higher elevation than where the front part is, the elevator should be able to go down deeper. So it is, technically speaking, under the level of the ship compared to the back landing gear to fully touch the ground. Because I don't know how many times I've landed a ship, I check in third person and I go, this won't work because I'm on a slight hill, and if I do this, I won't be able to get back in the ship because the elevator isn't touching the ground, or it's not close enough for me to go and be able
Had that with the
to
Cutlass.
jump on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that'll be for elevators and doors that it'll do that. So like I said, I hope that they allow for overextension of doors and elevators and all that shit. So here's hoping.
Well, it says door dynamic door alignment, so hopefully.
Yeah, the question is just, is it going to go, considering that where they go to now is the full extension, or would it allow for it to go deeper?
I think it's probably going to try and align itself with the ground underneath it.
Well, yeah, but like I was saying, if I park my Constellation and it's on a hill with the back landing gear on the top of the hill and the elevator pointing more downhill, so that means that the elevator goes down, the personnel elevator will go down to the level of the landing gear, but because it's on a hill, that means it's sitting 4 feet in the air there, or whatever.
So maybe the forward section will go down, and you'll have a ramp, essentially, like an elevator that's on an incline.
What you just said made no sense in terms of what I just said.
Okay, so you're saying that the ship itself is on a hill, right?
What I'm saying is you have parked on a hill. That the higher part of the hill is where the in this case a Constellation series ship is my example here. So the rear landing gear, the rear of the ship, because the Constellation doesn't have any forward landing gear at all, The rear landing gear is on the top of the hill. The elevator, as it is right now, will only go down to the level of the rear landing gear because it's assuming that you are parked on a nice level surface. So at that point, because you are on a hill, the elevator is now 3 or 4 feet in the air because the hill. I am saying it might be nice for that elevator, that front personnel elevator, to be able to extend farther beyond down past the level of the rear landing gear to allow you to actually reach the ground. Obviously, there would have to still be some set limits there. It can't just keep going forever. But I want for that to be accounted for, in that if you're parked uphill, your ramp is pointing downhill. Right now, you just have air, and you might not be able to get back in your ship if you don't realize it when you get out. So there needs to be, in my opinion, overextension of ramps or elevators to go and let you get back in the case that you aren't able to find completely level parking spots. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind.
Whatever. I
And
honestly, we'll have to wait and see because, again, we're talking about tier 0 implementation.
Yeah, whatever.
So...
Anyway, we've also got, because it needed its own fucking card for this, the ability to swap out the physical engine of the Origin M50.
Yeah, I don't know why that's there. It feels like some Origin fan CIG just decided to put that there.
Yeah, and it just says enabling the Origin M50's bespoke engine to be swapped, and it's as far as I'm aware, this isn't like an extra component that's being added. As far as I'm aware, it's just a visual change that's going to let. Now, that being said, maybe this is coming more in line with things like ship customization, in terms of being able to customize parts of your ship that aren't necessarily built-in bespoke components. So things like that, maybe we'll start.
Or maybe they are.
More.
Maybe you can change out the engines and they'll have like thrust to fuel.
Yeah, maybe.
Like,
and honestly,
this engine puts out better thrust, but it eats through fuel, versus this engine has, mild thrust, but it's not a fuel guzzler, stuff like that.
Well, or things like maybe you might be able to be like, hey, I'm going to go and swap out the main engines. And yeah, maybe you'll have like a speed versus fuel efficiency kind of thing, just like how you have now with quantum drives.
Right.
Alternatively, too, maybe you'll be able to be like, hey, I can swap out some or all of my maneuvering thrusters. Maybe, again, I might be able to be like, hey, I want more powerful thrust, but it's going to go and eat up a whole lot more power and fuel, and it's going to go and light me up like a fucking beacon when these things go off in the IM spectrum. Stuff like that. Or, hey, maybe I want really, really soft ones and make those really stealthy or something. Who knows? But it would definitely be cool to just have more options.
Yep, because options are a gamer's best friend.
Yes. Why in the fuck does KOTOR, Fallout New Vegas, KOTOR 2, Skyrim all have updates? And a bunch of other random ass games.
They're all going to be the same thing, saying, "Hey, you are 20 years behind on payments."
Yeah. No, what I'm betting it really is it's probably just some kind of exploit that's getting patched.
Yeah, probably.
That's what this stuff usually is. Anywho, the one feature that I'm really looking forward to, but unfortunately so far has been pushed back to mid next year, is the 0G push and pull.
Yeah.
So what this is going to be is it's going to allow you to, if you are in a spaceship and you are in civvy clothes, so you aren't wearing a pressure suit, you aren't wearing your armor or anything, you're wearing your fucking shorts and a t-shirt because your character was sleeping and you weren't sleeping in your fucking armor or something, and oh shit, the gravity went out for whatever reason. Maybe someone turned it off, power outage, damage, whatever. There's no gravity. The zero-G push-pull is going to allow you to maneuver around ships without needing a jetpack. So that'd be pretty damn cool.
And we're getting EVA Tier 0, which is going to improve EVA when you do have a suit on. That's I think that wraps it up for Star Citizen stuff. You want to talk about the Epic versus Apple, then we'll end it. So, for those who don't know or just are unaware or whatever, Epic versus Apple, it's been this ongoing case because what happened is Epic introduced a third-party way of payment method on the app on Fortnite on the App Store on iOS, which broke their terms of service contract with Apple as alternate third-party payment systems goes against their terms of service because Apple is supposed to be taking 30% commission fee from in-app purchases made on their platform, and Epic bypassed this with this new payment method, Fortnite. So Apple kicked Fortnite off the App Store, deleted or whatever they did to Epic's developer account, kind of doing away with it. And Epic then started filing antitrust lawsuits against them and Google as well, claiming that for the betterment of the competition in the market and blah blah blah, fighting for the little man bullshit, when they do the same bullshit on their own platform, the Epic Game Store. And so hypocrisy all around. This is all just money and power here because they want control of the market, not Apple to have it. But anyway, they did that, and so the court case's ruling is over, and it was in Apple's favor. So Apple won. They don't have to reinstate Fortnite, and Epic's things all lost, save for one. That being the allowment of, or the third-party payment systems are now allowed on Apple via the court ruling. So that's the only thing
But they
Epic
still have
won.
to follow all the other terms of service, and they still have to give Apple their cut. And that was the big thing, is that they were...
No, now, yes, but I'm saying, like, now you can, if you want to have a payment thing, like, okay, I'm in some app, and instead of just paying through Apple's in-app purchase system, I can use PayPal or whatever other payment method. It's not just Apple anymore. So they're now allowing third-party payment systems.
The big thing was that Epic was trying to go and essentially use Apple's platform for free.
Yeah. No, that was exactly what it was.
And then tried to claim, but this is to promote whatever the fuck. It's like, you're literally just trying to steal. Nice try. No.
And even if they weren't, say whatever, they were doing it for... I mean, they were claiming they were doing it for just cause, but again, they do the same shit on their own platform, on the Epic Game Store. They take a 15% commission fee for people that sell games on the Epic. The pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah, really. But that's the same thing with a lot of this shit. For
as I said, this was all... Epic did all of this just for money and power. Because they wanted to be in control of the market that Apple currently controls, or they think Apple currently controls. They just want more power in the industry, and they want more money while they're doing so.
Yep.
So, because of the ruling that was not in really any of their favor, I think they both lost, which is good.
Yeah, to a degree.
Because Apple lost in that they now have to allow third-party payments, which is definitely going to take a cut into their revenue, but Epic lost everything too. So anyway, Epic is appealing against the judge's ruling in the Epic versus Apple lawsuit. Epic Games is appealing against the decision made in the legal dispute on Friday.
Like a real sore loser. Not surprised.
Oh, totally sore loser. The excuses they made were sad, to put it lightly. But yeah, it's trying to remember what I'm trying to pull up the article here because one of the articles shows screenshots. Here it is of Tim Sweeney, CEO of Epic Games, and his response to it all. I think it's the wrong article. All right, one. So, no, this is the wrong one. Anyway, the point is he was saying how it was very anti-consumer, blah blah blah. Which I think is a load of shit. Like, look, you broke the term service contract. It's quite literally that simple. You did something wrong. I don't like either of these companies, so I really don't care. I care about the industry, and I want it to do better. And both of these companies don't help that. I mean, Apple actually earns more money from gaming than Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, and Activision combined. So Apple's profits from gaming outweigh those of major gaming companies, according to a report with Apple earning from more from App Store games in its 2019 fiscal year than Nintendo, Microsoft, Activision Blizzard, and Sony combined. The lawsuit between Epic versus Apple brought many details about Apple's operations to light due to the vast amount of evidence surfacing during discovery and subsequently being submitted to the court. In a report examining some of the data released as part of the lawsuit, it seems Apple's earnings from gaming surpassed many other heavyweights in the industry. Let's see, they earned, according to Wall Street Journal, they earned a whopping amount. And this is all because of the 30% commission fee. And no doubt because, again, this is all mobile games. This speaks immensely about how much money is made from mobile games, specifically in-app purchases and macro transactions and loot boxes. That's where all this is coming from. Apple estimates that Apple received $15.9 billion from the App Store during the company's fiscal 2019 year. That's incredible. It's a lot of money from mobile gaming, essentially.
The thing with it is that's every single purchase on the App Store. That's true. That's every single time someone goes and buys a power-up pack in their favorite fucking mobile game.
But $8.5 billion of it is from gaming.
Yeah. I mean, that's every time someone goes and buys that $1 pack to turn off ads on whatever fucking app it is. Every single one of those, it adds up. Because also, too, one thing, too, to bear in mind is that just like how Microsoft and Windows really controls the business market for computers, Apple especially is heavily persistent in the workplace for the iPhone because of how easy it is compared to the other really big standard being Android phones. iPhones in general are much easier to manage from a security standpoint for a company than Android phones. Because, hey, I've got a slightly different model, a slightly different version of Android. Sweet, now you have 15 different standards alone you are trying to go and manage at once for your workplace. Oh, we just hired someone else and they have a new one? Cool, 16 standards now. Fuck. Whereas with iPhone, it all just works.
It's all
together.
uniform and mainstream. The software, the hardware,
the middleware.
Yeah. No, the gasware.
Oh baby.
Oh, that's where the internet gas came from. Sorry.
Don't even fucking mention that shit.
Anyway, Judge Yvonne Gonzalez-Rogers ruled in Apple's favor regarding its claim that Epic Games breached its contract when the Fortnite hotfix introduced direct payments, avoiding the 30% Apple takes on all transactions from all of its apps. But yeah, the partial victory for Epic in regards that Apple now has to allow for third-party direct payment methods. So, yeah. But yesterday, Epic filed a notice of appeal to the U.S. Courts of Appeals. The company plans to appeal the final judgment and all orders leading to or producing that judgment. Oddly, this includes.
In other words, we lost.
Oddly, this includes the permanent injunction preventing Apple from blocking links to external payment options, perhaps as Epic pushes for an even stricter ruling. Epic's battle in the Northern District of California court is just one part of its legal crusade against Apple. The company also filed against the iPhone firm and Apple in the UK, Australia, and the European Union. Although the UK Competition Tribunal has already blocked this case back in March. Epic filed a similar antitrust lawsuit against Google in the US, UK, and Australia, which is expected to go to trial at some point. Doesn't even say when, just at some point. Yeah, essentially, we're not happy with this. Talk about being a sore loser, and
I hope with how, especially with not just what they did in that it was a clear and blatant breach of their terms of service that they agreed to. But on top of that, I really hope that given how they're acting now, I would laugh if they get slapped with even harsher penalties now, simply because, like, hey, at this point, like, we told you how this is going to be. You cried like a fucking bitch about it. Okay, now we're really going to go and start putting the thumb screws on you because you're still wasting our time. But we'll see. And either way, it doesn't really affect me.
no, I mean it's just annoying.
Yep.
Oh, here's that link here. Tim Sweeney saying today's ruling isn't a win for developers or customers. Epic is fighting for fair competition among in-app payment methods. Stores, yeah, bullshit.
Yeah, bullshit.
Bullshittery. You get a whiff of that bullshit. Yeah. Also, links in the description for the full, like, the actual, court ruling here. Read. I'm not going to read through all of this. I'll let you do that, which is why it's in the description. For now, we're going to look in Epic Games versus Apple ruling antitrust litigation takeaways. So, yeah, pretty much it's essentially, the reason Apple didn't lose is because the court ruled that it's not a crime to be successful, which is why it didn't rule the Apple App Store as a monopoly. At least not yet. Saying how the court's ruling leaves an open door for future Section 2 claims, noting that the trial record suggests that Apple is near the precipice of substantial market power or monopoly power with its considerable market share. So it's not a question. It doesn't. No, that's the thing. It's not a monopoly yet, but it is damn near impossible to compete with it.
Well, I mean, at that point, though, it's like I would argue that there's far larger companies with far larger market shares in their individual markets that the government isn't saying boo on. That being said, maybe you just have someone who's just waiting for a case to come up to do it. Maybe it's something. But as far as I'm aware, with a lot of the like antitrust kind of things, the government can initialize that. So
Also, if they're gonna do it for
I'm
Apple, they better well.
on that, but whatever.
If they're gonna do it for Apple, they better well fucking do it for Disney.
Yeah. Oh yeah, by far. Microsoft, Google, well,
Facebook,
Google's diverse,
Twitter.
but, yeah.
And that's not. And the others aren't even just for monopolistic practices. That's just for like in general. They need to have regulations. Give them the boot. And I don't mean a kicking. I mean like the boot that you put on a car.
We're gonna take them to the dump site.
No,
okay.
No, take them to Brazil.
Not Brazil.
We're going to Brazil.
No.
But yeah, look, essentially both lost in what they were fighting for, like what the original suit was about.
A girl worth fighting for?
What?
The Mulan song.
Oh, I watched. Yeah, I mean, whatever. Honestly, like again, yeah, Epic is literally just being. First, they instigated this, and yeah, Apple is not great. I'm not a fan. I'm becoming less and less of a fan of what they're doing because, I don't like that they're starting to stop outsourcing for, tech in their computers and now trying to do everything in-house, and they're trying to do everything to the point where, they got rid of jacks and the headphone jacks and stuff, and just stupid changes for money's sake. And
that's what this all comes down to is that Epic wanted to make a big grab and pull the rug out from underneath Apple here.
This was essentially a power grab.
And now
it was a money and power grab.
So, but we've kind of talked this one to death. What else we got?
Yeah. That's pretty much it. Although, wait, there's one thing. Amazon CEO says games could become its biggest entertainment category. Andy Jassy, encouraged by New World's success, which is the new MMO.
Who is saying this?
Amazon CEO.
So this CEO is just now coming into the 20th century then, or?
Yeah, right.
Like, video games have been a booming.
Well, I think it's more. I don't think he's talking about that. I think he's talking about because Amazon has had such a miserable experience with games until now, with New World being absurdly successful despite it being a very generic, and that's a term I do not use often.
Melting graphics cards.
What?
And the fact that it was melting graphics cards.
Was it really?
Yeah.
I heard it was melting servers.
What was worse was that the issues, especially it was with, I believe, one specific model of 3090s.
3090s.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
As far as I'm aware, all the people who had the issue were able to go and RMA their cards and get them replaced, but still.
But by the way, he still notes that games will still fail spectacularly, which is more up Amazon's track record. Spectacular failures.
Sure, when you have no idea how to manage a game or how to create a entertainment item that people will want to do,
let alone the lack of creativity.
Exactly. It's like, well, no wonder your product fails. You have no idea what it is if you're trying to. It would be like, hey. It's like from those medieval artists way back when, and they're like, oh yeah, I know a buddy of a guy of a friend who's seen one of these lions. Let me go and taxidermy this lion for you, and it looks like a fucking sick joke. compared to what we know lines really look like, because they have no idea what it is. That's essentially what they're creating. A sick joke of a product. But
yeah, I mean, so according to this, he's claiming that this is eventually going to outpace their music and video stuff, like Amazon Instant Video. Is that what it's still? It's not called that anymore,
they
right?
managed to make decent
Prime Video now, but I still remember it from when it first started. Amazon Instant Video, and obviously their new Amazon Music stuff. So he's saying it's going to be more successful than that. Goes on saying how it takes multiple tries and eventually you get a hit. And that they'll be judged by their success, and they'll only ship when ready, according to... Because after the failures of Crucible and Breakaway, they're now only going to... Both of which were scrapped, including that Amazon will now only ship when ready, which is, assuming true and not just a catchy line, at least Amazon's learning something that the AAA gaming industry isn't. But anyway, the CEO of Amazon also asserted that games could become Amazon's largest entertainment business given the millions of customers it has with Amazon Music and Amazon Prime Video. Plus the investment it has put into its film and TV portfolio. That's right, they're also making the Fallout TV show. Forgot about that. Most notably with the $8.45 billion deal to take over Hollywood giant MGM. Holy shit, really? Amazon's game business was formed in 2012, meaning it has taken almost a decade to produce a video game that survived launch. Wow. Any other company that was exclusively game making would have gone under in 2013. But because it's Amazon, and Amazon is, one of the most successful companies in the world and is run by one of the most wealthiest men in the world, if not the wealthiest man in the world, which we have a story about, which we'll probably cover on Sunday. Yeah, it's a little sad though that it only took them a decade. Can you imagine your company takes a decade to make a good product?
I mean, if it's a good product, fuck it. Take as long as you need. But...
Well, I say good, but I should probably say passable. Then again, I haven't played New World. I'm not interested and not a huge MMO guy. Star Citizen is the exception, not the rule. Although at this point, if I see other MMOs more like Star Citizen and how they play, like gameplay-wise, then yeah, I'll play those too, depending on the world they're set in. But yeah, I was not a huge MMO guy, so I don't care. But I've heard that I've heard mixed things. I heard it's fun, but it's not like interesting. Which is a very bad combination. Anyway, the CEO said New World is off to a great start, and SteamDB figures back that up, currently showing that the MMO has achieved a peak concurrent player count of over 900,000. Oh, I need that freaking clip. It's over 9,000! Of course, as with any online game, there have been some issues around launch. DFC intelligence analyst David Cole told Bloomberg it's way too early to declare New World a hit, but acknowledged it's not a disaster. It's not what we consider a huge game in the sense that it wasn't Amazon. I don't think you would be playing much of it. You would be paying that much attention to it. So saying if it wasn't Amazon, no one would care or even talk about this game, which sounds reasoning, I think. Jason took over from Amazon founder Jeff Bezos earlier this year and said he believed the company would find success in the games industry if we hang in there. Prior to taking on the CEO role, Jesse handled Amazon Web Services, which is their server stuff, which at one point encompassed the games division. Hartman told us Jassy has always been extremely supportive of us regarding the games. Well, I mean, there you have it. Apparently, New World is a success, and yeah, cool.
Yep.
I guess.
Do you? Yeah, that's pretty much it then.
Yep. Still can't believe, like, Apple is making more money than all these companies combined. Not just more than these companies, more than all of them together. Just from gaming.
Yep.
Like, you
Yeah.
see EA, like,
Mobile-
EA is only
mobile gaming's a
making...
huge market.
Yeah. Well, the EA made, what, like, $2 billion or something from... like, that's their revenue. It's high, but again, it's like, you see Apple... But then again, Apple covers a lot of stuff, too, and, yeah. I know, it's kind of like comparing... You're literally comparing two different animals here. Like, yeah, they have gaming, but their distribution. These other the gaming companies are development and distribution, mostly. And most of these companies use Apple for their distribution, so... Or not distribution, development and publishing, and they use Apple for distribution, so... Yeah, that's gonna make them more money. Anywho, that's kind of it for this week. Yeah, so Apple, you know, it's the thing is, it's over, but it's not, because now, you know, Epic is appealing to get it going all over again, and this is probably going to be a never-ending thing.
But that's pretty much the state of things here. So otherwise, we've just been running in circles here.
Yeah, so that's going to be it. Shall we promote our store?
Buy our shit.
Well, I mean, buy this too. I'm going to put it on a poster or something. But that was the wrong image. Here, buy our shit, because crotch shot. You always got to shoot someone in nards. And what, you're saying you never did?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Yeah, pretty much, if you ever wonder, you know, go to the freaking... Refresh the page. Huh. Why isn't it showing us live?
Surprise, you were never recording.
I mean, we are recording, and there is a chat. We had someone show up at some point. But anyway, pretty much any video, doesn't matter which, in the description, as always, you always have links to everything, including our Discord server, if you want to come hang with us. For whatever reason, I will question it, but whatever. Why would you want to come hang with us? That is something you have to answer. We can't tell you. But we got a store. There is merch. There is much merch. It is all Mando merch.
Buy our shit.
Buy our shit. You look cool. You can be the cool kid. All the cool kids will want to have it. So yeah, that's gonna be it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you.
No, I'm kidding.
We will see you guys next week.
Or something.
Or something. I mean, next episode is, again, Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the leftovers. The next show is Sunday, same time, 6 p.m. Eastern, where we're going to be talking about, well, I don't know all the topics we're going to be talking about because we handle that last minute usually, but one topic we'll be talking about is Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin company is apparently not very nice to women, just like Activision Blizzard. Yet another company run by by billionaires that is mistreating and harassing its employees. Anyway, we will see you then.
Or else.
Bye bye.